I'm a Series 3 commodity broker, graduated from the University of Minnesota. Worked briefly for the American Soybean Association, helped pass the first soybean checkoff in Minnesota. I started trading in 1975, so I've been a grain trader and advisor now for over 40 years. And many of you might read the articles that I write in Successful Farming magazine. I've built a good team of people that I work with. I still very much enjoy the business and the changes that we've seen. Day to day, what makes you money and profit on your farm is the good long-term financial and marketing decisions that you make. So I talked earlier about certain concepts to apply to your farm. One is, when you're planting corn, it's usually a pretty good time to be selling corn. God, that rule worked really well in 2023. Don't put yourself in a financial position where you need to sell corn or soybeans between August and October. I've never, in the 40 years I've worked with farmers, claimed that I could hit the highs, but I can give you certain methods that I think will help you avoid the lows. Another concept, you have to work at marketing just like you work at producing your crop, because that can make such a huge difference in your profitability. Corn, especially this year, there's a nice carrying charge in the market, optimistic on basis. I think you can justify storing corn. Most of the time, it's hard when I'm working with farmers to justify sitting there with a bunch of beans in the bin. 80% of the time, you're better off to take the money November, December, and if you want to have some upside participation, learn how to buy some call options. There's another concept. You're not growing corn or soybeans, you're growing money. So how do you take the crop, turn it into cash, and do it again next year? USDA reports. I've been to the USDA, I've been through the lockup at the USDA, and I have a lot of respect for the USDA. Farmers don't always like to hear that. When government puts out the report, just like any private analyst or individual, you don't always think that that's the end report. It's a snapshot of what's going on at that time. So sometimes during the month, you'll see quite a difference in yield from month to month in the USDA reports. Does that mean the USDA report was wrong? No. Does it mean conditions have changed? Yes. And so we try to anticipate it. We as a firm, we do our own surveys for both acreage and yield. And we've really gotten to where we can track it pretty darn close most years. But it's been a true 10-year learning experience on how to do this. And quite honestly, I have more experience in doing this than most of the people that have these positions in the USDA. And having that experience, I think, is a big benefit. The big numbers we really watch for are the ending stocks. And when we get a good spring-summer rally, remember, we're not going to run out of corn. If the optimistic projections USDA has in place for usage is right, we're going to have 2.1 billion bushels of corn. More than enough for end users to be confident they can buy hand to mouth. Soybeans, pretty tight, 245. But with soybeans, when you look at the U.S. supply demand fundamentals, you have to realize every 6 months you've got a large supply of soybeans coming into the world market, because you've got crops coming out of Brazil and Argentina 6 months after our harvest. And quite often storing into the South American harvest can be a bad mistake. Wheat, we're a pretty minor player right now in the world wheat market. We produce about 10 or 12% of global wheat and export a fair amount of that wheat, but really it's what's happening in Russia, Ukraine, India has become much more important than the U.S. wheat. This is a global market we're in. I always like to look at ending stocks. And when you look at these numbers, don't worry about the small month-to-month changes. Corn last year, we had 299 million metric tons of corn available. Extra, in the bin, piled up somewhere in the world. This year, that's going to be an even bigger pile, 315 million. So I'm hoping we get a good, typical April-May rally in the corn market, because I'm very concerned about corn prices by August through October of this next year. And so when we look at it, we're not going to run out of corn. Soybeans, again, 102 million metric tons A year ago, 115, 115, 114. Look at how much more we have now than a year ago. And when you're in a global market, we folks in the Midwest tend to watch weather in the Midwest and the U.S. numbers. Global numbers trump the U.S. numbers every year. We do offer a market pack service. You can try it for 30 days for free. We're brokers. We have a publishing company. And the market pack is what has really been very popular and has grown the business all through the Corn Belt. I've got my own app, the Kluis Now app. You can download it at no cost, use it for 30 days. You just have to get a password assigned. You get current markets, a lot of stuff on there. Subscriber-only webinars, and we continue to build a very robust website. So thank you. We also work one-on-one with farmers in a private client relationship. I'm just west of the Twin Cities in Wayzata, right by the Carlson Towers. I have offices in Willow Lake, South Dakota, Watertown, South Dakota, and Platteville, Wisconsin. So we trade everything from corn and soybeans to milk and cattle.